When I went to art school, I was a ceramics major. So this was in the time of the hippies, around '67. Vietnam War was going on. There was a lot of the civil rights movement was beginning at that time. So going to art school, and when I was the only Latino person in ceramics, I felt in some ways, very isolated. But it taught me to study the fundamental of what art is. Number one, drawing, and because if you can draw it, you can build it. It's a foundation of structuring ideas in your mind. I did my first tag around 1969, and the Chicano movement was happening. They were muralists. They were putting out imagery, and I was trying to find myself with my work, and I was beginning to do graffiti art. Actually put it on canvas. That concept was really new at that time. I took my first graffiti paintings over to East Los Angeles to be in the first, what I thought would be accepting me, is the Chicano galleries. Because I said, I saw these Chicanos and they were painting lowriders and they were painting the community, and I go, I identify with those guys. I want to be those guys. But when I took my paintings, they go, Chaz, this is not art. This is gutter art. This is anti-Chicano. They said, Chicano art is about family, religion, border issues, suppression, all those kind of issues. That's what Chicano imagery is, and what I'm doing is against that, so they wouldn't show me. So in a few years, I ended up in Hollywood at the 01 Gallery. There, who embraced my work was Robert Williams, the godfather of whack cartoon, California Zap comics, and also Big Daddy Roth, hot rod designer and painter. And he did the Rat Fink. So those guys embraced my work, Americana, underground. So from there, I started showing in Hollywood, not in East LA. Later on, I became a spokesperson for Chicano art because you can't deny that Cholo graffiti isn't part of the languaging of what East LA is and who we are. Because we've been doing Cholo graffiti since the 1940s, since the World War II. So I have a long history and a long heritage in graffiti, but in Latino, Chicano, Cholo graffiti. And it comes from the Latino community. Graffiti is a dialogue. It's a language. Okay, what would graffiti talk about? That's what I want to paint. And what I don't want to be negative, because in some ways that's too easy. There's plenty of people talking about the negative. The gang, the violence, the drugs, that's not what I want to do. There's something innate in graffiti that unifies us, that gives us a sense of spirit to be real creative. I think that's what's moved our graffiti movement, art movement, into the street art world. It's worldwide now, because of the positive part of it. And it unites us as a family, the graffiti family. So I find that graffiti for me is about the second level, this third space, between, let's say between the audience and myself. That's the artwork is somewhere in between. How can they describe that? And that turns into a sense of enlightenment, but also a sense of place. It's difficult to say, but it's a positive place. Graffiti writers come destroying the room, destroying everything around them, but they're dropping nuggets of knowledge and gold, just like stars in the sky. So what would that look like a painting? You think about it. I go, what would that sense, what does the dialogue contribute to the composition? I try to paint not only the best of graffiti, but also what makes graffiti real, and it always comes out positive. I'm considered the longest writing graffiti writer in the history because I started in 1969, but a lot of people started in like 67 or 69. I give them a lot of credit, but they never continued. They stopped doing art. I always continued, and in my work, I always progressed. What I found that what I could bring to my graffiti now is that I bring a long history. Like I said, I could bring the sense of the civil rights, which gave me self-reliance and identity, that I don't need anybody to tell me what to do. Graffiti is an art form that you don't need permission. Graffiti gave me the ability just to be who I am and in your face. I was not making art. I went for 20, 25 years with no crews, no graffiti magazines, no videos, no nothing, no support system, no galleries. Nobody believed in graffiti when I was doing it. But it made me feel what I could do. I had a lot of sense of freedom. The very first drug I ever took in my life was peyote with the shamans from Nayarit. And I remember finally relaxing into a bed or a hammock late that night and seeing a dot of red roses like stars falling all over me that night. Next 2 days, because it takes quite a bit to recover, they gave me some weed. And that was not only soothing and relaxing, it opened up my mind. So in some ways it was magical. The weed was always magical. But coming back to the United States, it was extremely taboo. There through the 60s and through the 70s, it was severe laws. So I was smoking every day. I'm an everyday smoker. But in the 70s, we always had to kind of hide it. And we always dreamt maybe one day it would be legalized, but we said not in our lifetime, never, you know. I use weed is to be creative. It doesn't bring any sense of creativity, but it makes me detached from all the other issues that I have. I could always go to my studio, take a little bit of weed, and be in the moment, and be present with my painting. For me, it makes me a better painter, because I can not only focus on what I have to do, but it doesn't make me a better artist. I need to be, once I get the concept and ideas, I need to kind of have some cup of coffee and then start working, because painting is a job. I cannot open my mind and be detached without the weed. Most of my major work that I've done in studio has been with marijuana, also with coffee, you know. And there goes many times that I've been out of the country, I don't smoke weed for months, and it doesn't bother me at all. And as soon as I come back, in a couple of days, I'll start rolling a joint. I just love the flavors, tangerine, all this stuff. I think it makes not only weed pleasurable, but I just see it, finally everybody should be able to enjoy it. My name is Chaz Bojorquez, and I'm living the dope life.